So I wanted to let you know that we have a lot of people here in the room from the high school to assist all of you in understanding a little bit more about the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. And as a parent of an 8th grader myself, I know what you're thinking. We can't believe that the time has gone as fast as it has. And certainly in a year like we're having right now, this is an unusual opportunity for us to gather as parents and to ask some questions and hear a little bit about the future. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and open up. Oh boy, it says I can't minimize while I'm recording. Miss Cornelius, you're the smartest lady on computers in here. What do I do if I need to record and I can't minimize? You know what? I've got an idea. Participants here. Mr. Lamb or Ms. Haskin, can I make you the host?
Yeah, I'm already a co-host and so is Mrs. Haskin. So one of us can present.
Can you present if I record?
Yeah, hang on a second.
Okay. Technical difficulties. It's the year, right? All right, so while Mr. Lamb is bringing that up, I would remind you that we are going to record this and post it. And our chat feature, we do have disabled right now, but we're going to go ahead and open that up toward the end. And that's mostly so that if anybody were to put something in chat as a question, it wouldn't pop up and be distracting during the middle of the presentation. As we get started, if we do have some bandwidth issues, I might ask you to turn your camera off. And that's mostly because there's a finite amount of space. And when we're presenting to a large group like this, we might need to preserve bandwidth. So it's up to you if you want to keep your video on, but there may be a point where we might ask you to turn it off if we need to do that. When Mr. Lamb gets this up and ready, we'll start talking a little bit about how we got to here today. I can tell you that all of your students have been placed in a spreadsheet and given a core course recommendation in English, social studies, math, and science. And we're going to talk a little bit about those core course placements. We're also going to talk a little bit about the academies of Freeport High School. We are in our second year of implementation. And the reason behind the academies of Freeport High School is to do two things. One of which is to align our students to some things that they're very interested in as early as high school so that they can start to chart their path toward a future career. A second reason is to take our large school and to make it smaller because we need to allow our students to be part of a smaller group. And as part of that smaller group, especially at the freshman level, they'll be able to develop some of those skills. Mr. Lamb, would you be able to advance the slide? Thank you. A few of the people that you're going to meet today. My name is Beth Summers. I'm the principal at the high school. Ms. Haskin and Mr. Lamb are our associate principals. Mr. Lawfer is the counselor for all of the freshmen. Mr. Thedford Jackson, our college and career center advisor, and Mr. Brock Kundert, our freshman academy leader. And then you'll also get a chance to meet all of our department chairs. You will notice throughout the presentation that everybody's email address is on the slide in which they are presenting. So if you have a specific question directed at one person that you don't think really fits for the whole group, try to write their name down so that you can communicate directly with that person and get your question answered. Go ahead. On our agenda tonight is an overview of the freshman process as far as coming from 8th grade to 9th grade, a registration process overview, a little bit about athletics, and a little bit more about the academy model at the very end of the presentation. At this time, Brock Kundert. Mr. Kundert, do you have the ability to unmute yourself now?
I do now. Sorry.
Okay, good.
It wasn't letting me unmute. I needed to be unmuted. So my name is Mr. Kundert, Brock Kundert. I'm the Freshman Academy lead. So I'll just kind of go over a little bit of what the Freshman Academy means. So the Freshman Academy is really a core group of teachers. Really the core group, English, science, math, and social studies are kind of the same, roughly 10 teachers. We monitor all the freshmen to ensure that they're on track to graduate in 4 years. That's kind of the big push, and our goal this year is to have the highest number possible on track after they leave the Freshman Academy. So some of the things the Academy does, we're providing a staff mentor for students who need it. So what that means is our big push, like I said, is freshmen on track. I could describe that. It's a huge process, but essentially what we're doing is we're trying to allow for staff members for students that need them. We've seen a lot of success with this year, especially being a little different. I would say school might be a little harder for some kids, maybe easier for some, but just having that staff mentor, we've seen huge success in grades, attendance, things like that. One thing we didn't get to do this year, but we're looking forward to next year, hopefully, is kind of a kickoff to the school year for all freshmen. One thing that we've kind of always felt has been a struggle is crossing the street, which is not that far a distance, but it's a big difference between 7th and 8th grade, 9th and 12th grade. And we tend to not really lose kids, but they don't get off to as good a start as they do in the later years. So that kickoff's really just to build some camaraderie amongst kids, try to get them on board with the high school process, give them somebody, that they can really count on in terms of a staff member. We provide a lot of supports for students struggling educationally and mentally. Every freshman is going to get placed in a careers class that I teach, as well as some other staff members. And in that class, we're hitting a lot of SEL, which is social emotional learning practices, and kind of teaching kids how to deal with adversity, what it's going to be like in the job life, what's it like after high school, and really just building upon those things with every student. Another thing we try to do is work to create strong working relationships with parents. This year obviously has been different as well. With COVID, not as many people are allowed to come in, but moving forward as Academy, we're really hoping to bring potentially 1 or 2 parents in a week, to discuss some things. One of the big things with Academy is going to be volunteering. So if you're a parent that's really interested in helping out at a school, we're going to be planning a lot of events, hopefully, to kind of build that school camaraderie. And then really what we're just trying to do with the academies and the Freshman Academy specifically is we really want to build a sense of belonging in the first year of high school. It's a big difference. There's not really a way to get prepared to be in a school of 1,000 kids. So we're really just trying to help those freshmen as much as possible, kind of ease that transition. And I think the Academy, for the most part this year, even with the adversity of the COVID, restrictions and things like that, I think we've done a good job of really helping the freshmen move forward and be prepared as sophomores to pick an academy. And that's my email down there. If you have any questions about anything with the Freshman Academy, there's a lot that I didn't hit tonight, but if you have any questions or more interest about what it really is about, shoot me an email and I'll be more than happy to respond.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Lawfer. I am the Freshman Guidance Counselor, and I'm going to briefly go over some of the services that the Guidance Department provides to students. And I would be more than happy at the end to answer any questions. I can tell you that we are very excited to be getting your sons and daughters as freshmen at Freeport High School next year. I think it is an exciting time to be a student at Freeport High School with the Academy model. I believe it is offering students a chance to find out if this is a career they really want to pursue, or do they want to pursue something different. But some of the services that we provide academic guidance, we provide career guidance, and we also provide personal and social guidance. An important part of providing academic guidance is academic progress and records. At Freeport High School, each class that you take and pass, you earn a half credit for. You can see the graduation requirements. For the class of 22, it was 24. For the class of 25, it goes all the way up to 26 credits. You can earn 4 credits each semester or 8 credits for the year. So you can see that you'll easily be able to reach the 26 credits by the time you graduate from high school. We also focus on permanent record. Every student has a transcript. The transcript records the course title and the grade that you earn. It records a cumulative GPA and a cum class rank. Now, when would you use a transcript? When you apply to go to college, or you applied to go to the military. You may even use your transcript when you apply for a job, because they may want to see a record of how you did in school, and they may want to see your attendance record as well. The course selection process. It is broken into 2 phases. Phase 1, which is orientation. Students are going to receive a screencast that I recorded today and I sent over to the middle school that I believe they are going to start showing to students tomorrow. Students will also receive a course description book. This is the only copy of this book that they will receive during their 4 years of high school. So we tell students to put their name on the course book and put it in a place where they know they'll be able to find it. Obviously, from year to year, there are changes in the course book that they'll be able to go online and see, but the hard copy, put their name on it and put it somewhere at home where they know they can always find it to go back and look at courses they may take in their sophomore, junior, senior years. A Google form is going to be emailed to all incoming freshmen. I believe that is going to happen yet this week. On that Google form, we are asking for a parent signature required on the Google form when you submit it. And then after the form is submitted, we will, the guidance counselors will look at all the forms. We will contact students if we have questions, and this is a new process for everyone. So hopefully it runs smoothly, but I'm sure there will be some things that we will have to contact students and parents about. The second phase is the course selection. As I said, a guidance counselor will review the Google form submissions. An email will be sent to the student and the parent verifying the chosen courses, and then schedules will be available on Schoology in August. Typical freshman schedule. This is an example of what a typical freshman schedule is like. You can see, number 1, all freshmen have to take English or English 9 honors. Number 2, they are going to take Integrated Math 1 or Integrated Math 2, biology or biology honors, 1 semester of PE and 1 semester of health. It could be PE semester 1, health semester 2, or it could be health semester 1, PE semester 2. The computer is the one that generates the schedules. So however the computer generates the schedules, that will be the semester they have that class. Every freshman has to have a full year of careers or AVID. AVID replaces careers if they are a student that wants to be an AVID. And then number 6, every student has to have 1 semester of a class called Basic Computer Concepts and a semester of Occupationally Applied Math. Number 7, World History. World History is not a requirement. However, we do recommend that students take at least 1 semester of world history if they can fit it into their schedule. And then you'll see number 8 is room for an elective. And I believe
Good evening. Hi, this is Sarah Haskin, one of the assistant principals. As a part of our transformation to academies, we switched to block scheduling this year. In the past, we only ran on a 7-period schedule, but we moved to 8 periods in order to accommodate the block scheduling. And so as Mr. Loffer pointed out on a previous slide, the number of credits that students needed in order to graduate was increasing. So that's the reason for the increase, because previously students only took 7 classes in a year, whereas this year this year and moving forward, they have 8 full periods. So with the block scheduling, the students have 4 classes per day. We rotate A-B schedules. So on a Monday would be an A day, Tuesday would be a B day, Wednesday's A, Thursday's B, Friday is A. And then the following week it would reverse. You'd start out Monday on a B day and then A, B, A, B. So that's how the A-B schedule works. The classes end up being longer. They end up being about an hour and a half long instead of the 45 to 50 minutes that they used to be. So we've been using the block scheduling this year, and it's kind of been a nicer transition, I think, because there's 75-minute periods this year, but hopefully next year we'll be able to go back to a full schedule and have 90-minute classes. I'm going to ask now our department chairs to briefly introduce themselves and go through the course offerings that are offered at the 9th grade. And up first is Ms. Danelle Setterstrom from the art department.
Hi, my name is Danelle Setterstrom. I am the art department chair and one of 2 art teachers at the high school. As a freshman, the art electives include Design 1 and Design 2. After your students take and pass those, they are the prerequisites for all of our other upper level art electives. And those include ceramics, sculpture, jewelry, drawing and illustration, painting, cinematography, game design, and advanced studio and advanced placement art. If you have any questions about any of those classes, my email is at the bottom of the screen there. And I just want to say that, we're really fortunate to offer our students such a rich arts program at Freeport High School, and I look forward to seeing them next year. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christy Evans. I'm one of the AVID co-coordinators for the district. And AVID is offered in the freshman and it goes through senior year. We are accepting new applicants. It is a elective that you do have to apply to get into. So if you would like to apply or you're interested in AVID, you can email me and I can get you an application. It is a career and college preparatory class. We focus on writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And if you stay in it, by the time you're a senior, right now my seniors are working on college applications and scholarships and eventually, hopefully going to a 4-year or 2-year college, or we're helping them get a career. So that is the focus of that class. So if you're interested, let me know and I can get you an application for AVID. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heather Cornelius, and I'm the department chair for the Career and Technical Education, which covers everything from auto mechanics, family consumer science, business, technology. And there are 12 other teachers, including myself, that instruct students in all of the different areas. So for the agriculture department, we have Farm to Table. It is a semester-long introductory class, and it's kind of a survey or a sample class. So students get to learn about food, fiber and fuel, and how it impacts the environment from local to global levels. So they also discuss careers, business, plant science, animal science, food. And it's a good one if kids are not quite sure where what they're interested in, but they know they want to study plants, animals, and the environmental issues. Urban Ag is a year-long class for freshmen, and it is looking at growing, processing, and distributing food in populated areas. So their students will look at fruit and vegetable production, soil science, plant science, business, community development, hydroponics, they're starting that. We also have some mechanical farming equipment that are going to come in that's robotics, so we can kind of test how students grow compared to a robotic system, which will be kind of interesting. And then the students will also work in the garden and learn how to plant their own, plant their own space within the garden. So if they're looking for something that's more hands-on and kind of getting dirty, that would be a good option for them. And then other classes that we have available to freshmen, we have a lot of classes in career and technical education, but available to freshmen. Brock talked about the freshman careers class. I'm not sure if that's on the next slide, but, and talked about the SEL and all of that. But it also, just to kind of expand upon what he said, the students will investigate the career pathways, and it gives them a little insight into their personal strengths and interests and abilities and help them make a selection. And then they also will use, learn some of the AVID study skills to help them throughout their high school career. And then the last class that we have for freshmen in career and technical is a semester-long class that is really word processing, spreadsheets, database, creating presentations, some computer coding, all applied to the academy courses that we have, and supporting everything that they do through school that way. And then once they're out of that, we have auto mechanics, we have electronics, plumbing, home construction, and maintenance. I do engineering, graphic design, game design. And then we have all of the business classes from accounting to entrepreneurship, and then family consumer science courses as well. So there's a wide variety for students to choose from beginning their sophomore year.
Okay, I'm Dave Roloff, and I'm speaking for the English department, and I'm very happy to be with all of you this evening. I see quite a few of my former students and athletes in attendance tonight. It's nice to see you. All Freeport High School students will be taking 8 semesters of English, starting with 9th grade or 9th grade honors, and that continues through 10th and 11th grade. We also offer advanced placement courses in literature and language. And as Mr. Loffer mentioned earlier, students will need 26 credits to graduate, but they have an opportunity to take 32. So why not? We offer as electives a variety of courses, including film studies, creative writing, multicultural literature, broadcasting, yearbook, drama, business communications, journalism, mythology, and more. And we're always adding. So thank you for your attendance tonight. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Good evening, I'm Ms. Walkman. I'm head of the Foreign Language Department. We offer 2 languages at Freeport High School, German and Spanish. So for freshmen, German 1 is their one option. The other, in Spanish, it depends on what they have had before, depending if they started at Jones Fryer, if they continued on at the middle schools. So freshmen could be eligible for either Spanish 1, 2, or 3. We have had in the past a Heritage Learners family for those students who grow up in Hispanic families, kind of speak it, don't really read it and write it all that much, but that is strictly subject to numbers. We have to have enough children to run the class. And that pretty much covers it. Thank you very much. Gracias.
I'm going to jump in and cover the math department here. At Freeport High School, you have 3 years of math required, but for many of our students, especially those who are planning to go on to college, 4 years makes the most sense and is subject to some of those placement decisions at the college level. If students have taken integrated math 1 as 8th graders, they will come in integrated math 2. However, most of our incoming 9th graders take integrated math 1. For students who test multiple grade levels below other 9th grade peers at this time, we do offer math support. We offer the same thing in our English department in the form of a reading class. And the purpose behind that is we have 4 short years before they're out in the world, and we want them to have as many skills as possible. And then our occupationally applied math course allows our freshman students to start to see how math applies to their future career. And so that's a new course as part of the Academy model.
Good evening. I'm Bill Peterson from the music department. There are 6 classes that can be taken by a freshman, 2 choir, 2 band, 2 orchestra. They're based on ability level. If you are currently in band, choir, or orchestra, your current teacher will help you choose which. If you are not currently involved, but you enjoy singing, or you play piano or guitar or drums or something like that, we have places for you to go. You just have to contact me, and then I'll put you in contact with the appropriate teacher. The music classes are considered global classes, so they strengthen any of the career paths that you would take. In addition to these, you have a couple of extracurricular opportunities to join the school musical. That's just by audition, look for the announcements, or the jazz band.
Okay, we'll cover NJROTC too. I'm sure some things have come up with a few of these people. Our NJROTC program offers Navy Junior Reserve training core at the freshman level, and then they add on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels all the way up. New this year, if you happen to have a 7th grader in your house also, 8th graders will now be able to access the NJ program during their 8th grade year as well as during high school.
All right, my name is Zach Heitz, and I am the instructor leader for PE, Health, and Driver's Ed at Freeport High School. Kind of read the bottom of the slides there. Essentially, at Freeport High School, we run a fitness-based PE curriculum. So kind of physical activity is the basis for what we do. Kind of that physical activity is going to support the brain and body and get you ready for all the other academic classes. As a freshman, you have a couple options to sign up: team sports and recreational activities. Team sports is more a traditional class, but involves probably a 15 to 20 minute, typically body weight or different type of workout before you get to the activity. Recreational activities is more like a group fitness class. They utilize the weight room. They do spin bikes. They do body weight circuits. They do yoga, relaxation, things like that. Health is a classroom class. You're going to take that for 1 semester, as Mr. Lawfer alluded to earlier. We also have a class called Advanced PE, which is a weightlifting based class. And if there's room available, there are sometimes we get freshmen in there, but because there's limited availability, freshmen cannot sign up for that class. And the next slide is Driver's Ed. So I'll cover what I can, and Ms. Haskin may follow up with a couple points that are coming up. To enter into our driver's education program, you must be 15 on the first day of the class to get your permit. The permit is $20. The entire course fee is $250. There are some fee waivers and things like that that can be applied to that. You must be able to pass the permit test, which is a state test, and a vision test. In order to enroll in driver's ed at Freeport High School, you have to pass 8 classes the previous 2 semesters. And there are 2 portions of the classroom. One is driver's ed classroom, which is the instructional part in the classroom. I believe off the top of my head, that's 16 hours or 30. And the behind the wheel time is 6 hours. Some of that can be done in school. Some of that, because of limited driving time, is outside of school. When you register for the class during our school year, it is by birth order. So the oldest students get in before the youngest ones get in. And Ms. Haskin will probably touch on summer school here in a second. In the past, if you've been in this meeting for other students, summer school has been first come, first serve, but COVID in March has kind of created a backlog. We couldn't drive for several months, so we're behind on driving, which limited summer, which then limited class sizes this fall and spring. So we're a little behind. So Ms. Haskin, I believe, is going to jump in and kind of update you on where driver's ed stands as of today.
Right. Well, Mr. Heiss did a great job explaining all that. Pretty much what happened last spring in March when we shut down was that all of the students, 90 to 100 students who were in driver's ed last spring, could not finish out their driving hours. They were able to finish the classroom hours, but their 6 hours of driving time was not finished. So our instructors were able to get a lot of them in through the summer, get that driving time taken out. But because of them doing the summer driving with the spring students, we weren't able to offer summer driver's ed last year. So we've just been kind of playing catch up throughout this first semester of this year and now the second semester. And we actually still have some sophomores who have those July and August birth dates who have not been enrolled yet in driver's ed. They are going to have first choice at whether or not they take summer driver's ed this year. And then if there's still spots left over, we'll start enrolling probably the oldest freshmen, seeing if they want to. So it's kind of like a waiting game right now to make sure we can see how many students we actually get through the second semester in terms of that 6 hours of driving. But there is a backlog. Hopefully by the time your students are to the point where we can enroll them in driver's ed, we'll be all caught up and things will be back to normal.
Hi there, I'm Steve Tellison from the Science Department, Department Chairman. The Science Department, we require 2 years of science, although most kids take more than that. And our 9th grade offering is either biology or biology honors for those kids who want a little bit more challenge in there. After you get through that, those 2 classes are gateways to the rest of our classes, chemistry and chemistry honors. We have a very popular forensic science class, earth science, physics, anatomy, and physiology. We also offer a dual credit Chem Honors 2 and a Bio Honors 2 as well for off into the future. I want to piggyback on what Ms. Cornelius was talking about and some of the pathways that the CTE department offers. I personally am part of that department too, although I don't claim that all the time. But I offer a pathway in fire science with a Fire Science 1 and a Fire Science 2 class, which are beginning firefighting classes, as well as an emergency medical responder class, which is a beginning EMS class. So it was nice to see a lot of names that look familiar in there. So thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.
Hello, how are you all doing? I hope you're excited about your freshman year, to those students who are out there and attending. And I can't think of a better time to study history and social studies than what's going on right now. There's all sorts of things popping around the world and in our own country. And in the history department, social studies department, we have a whole variety of things that you can study. For freshmen, as was indicated earlier, world history and world history honors are really recommended for all of our students to take. It gives you a broad overview of events around the world and things that are taking place around the world. And then in your 10th grade year, you are required by the state of Illinois to pass and take a civics class. That's taken by all students in the 10th grade. There's an honors option for that, as well as a regular track option. And then also required is, as an 11th grade student, U.S. history. And that's a full year course. And you can take an honors, you can take a regular track, an honors track, or an AP track with that particular course. And then as you get into your junior and senior year, we have a wide variety of electives that you can take: geography, sociology, psychology, women's history, African American history, AP European history, international affairs. We have a Psych 2 and a Sociology 2 as well. And so there are a wide variety of classes that you can take. and we believe that we can prepare you very well to understand the broader world. And just as an aside, I teach one of the careers classes. I teach Foundations in Education in the Leadership Academy. So if you're interested in becoming a teacher, we have a pathway specifically designed for you. So thank you very much.
Hi, I am Ravi Wilson. I'm Department Chair for Special Education. There are the courses listed that are going to be offered for our 9th graders next year. And one thing you have to keep in mind, all these placement decisions are made in your IEP meetings. The courses offered are Math B and Integrated Math B. Those two math classes are offered. For freshmen, Math B is around 2nd grade level math skills for students. And the Integrated Math 1B are for the students that function at 4th grade level. And English B is also for students at around 4th, 5th grade level. And the intensive reading is for the students that require additional support in reading. And each year we offer one of the science classes, either Science B, Biology, or Health. Next year we are going to offer Science B. And similarly, we are going to offer World History, US History, and Government each year. And the next year is going to be the World History. Strategies for Success is a class that is taken by students that need additional help in reading, math, executive functioning skills, and organizational skills and stuff like that. And there is a program called PAC, Practical Applications Cross-Categorical. This program is offered for students that need independent living skills and academic skills that are taught at the level according to their IEPs. And we do also have social emotional learning focus, where mostly the behavioral strategies are addressed in those classes. And we do also have co-taught classes where 2 teachers will be there in classes. And there are electives and general education classes that the students with IEPs can take. And again, in your IEP meetings this spring, I want you to discuss about the classes that your student is going to take next year. That's where all the decisions are made. You see my email address. If you have any questions, please email me.
Hey, good evening. I'm Mr. Fitzpatrick, and my job as the athletic director involves coordinating over 20 sports. I thought it'd be important to share some of the requirements that you have to be eligible to participate in our athletic programs. Number 1 is a current physical exam. All freshmen that enroll at Freeport at the high school need a physical in order to be in the school. So that physical will count as the sport physical for any of our programs your first year. But physicals are only valid for 1 year time. So you essentially have to get a sport physical the remaining 3 years of your high school career. Number 2 is parent consent forms. There are school policies, Freeport Health Network policies, Illinois High School Association policies. The parent and the student have to sign off on these forms. These forms are filled out once a year. So you'll have to do that 4 times as you go through your high school career. The third item that you would need is a code of conduct policy meeting. This is essentially one meeting that you have to attend the very first time you go out for a sport. And you have to attend with your parent and guardian. And basically we just go over all of the policies and being in extracurricular activities. Number 4 is, the 4th item is no outstanding fines or equipment from a previous sport. So your first sport, you won't have to worry about this particular requirement, but for your second, third, and subsequent sports that you go out for, we're not going to let you do that next sport until you take care of anything that you owed to that previous sport. Maybe you didn't turn in a jersey. Maybe you owed some money for whatever the case may be. You have to take care of that before we'll let you play the next sport. And lastly, a student must have passed 5 classes from the previous semester. This is an IHSA requirement. We actually have some students that cannot play any sports this semester, that the fact that they didn't pass enough classes from the fall semester that we just completed. The next slide is goals of our athletic program. The first goal is essentially talking about time management. High school class load is more difficult than your middle school class load that you had. And then take into account being involved in sports takes a lot of your time. So you are forced to manage and prioritize your day. To be successful at that, you have to intentionally take time to plan. And what you're going to do, how do you get everything done? Because there's only so much time in a day. Our second goal is dealing with reputation. The first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds when they think about a school is their athletic programs. Not just do we win, but how we play. How do we act when we lose? How do we act when we win? This is a responsibility of our coaches and our players that make up our teams, which is to represent Freeport in the best way possible. We want the best student athletes on our teams, and we want them to make good decisions, because that's who they're representing, our school, our community, and their team. And the third goal, to promote drug, alcohol-free activities for all the times for all student athletes at the high school. The last thing I wanted to mention is that extracurricular activities are more than just sports. There are over 20 non-athletic activities for students to get involved with. So there's really something for everyone. High school is a great opportunity to try new things. So I really encourage you to get involved. This can be a really fun part of school. Mrs. Haskin is going to talk about this next slide.
So Dr. Summers asked me to talk a little bit about college and athletics. I have 3 daughters who have all gone through high school and wanted to play soccer in college. If you guys are like me, when my oldest daughter was in junior high, I knew absolutely nothing about the college recruitment process. I had no idea how any of it worked. I didn't know anything about the different divisions, other than always hearing about, Division I sports and all that. Those are the big games that you watch on TV and so on. So I've definitely, over the course of the last 10 years, have learned a lot about recruiting and the different levels that kids can go play at. And Division I, even though that's always seems to be the bright and shiny goal, it might not be the best fit for all students. So this chart here just kind of shows the different requirements at every different level. There's NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III. There's also an NAIA division, which is separate from NCAA. And then there's also the junior college division. But if you look at NCAA Division I and II, they have the most requirements. They also have minimum GPAs. So Division I, students have to have a 2.3 GPA in their core courses in order to qualify to play Division I. Division II, they have to have that 2.2 GPA. But you can see there that there are core courses that are listed there. And within the high school career, if a student wants to play Division I, they need to have 16 core courses. A lot of them are classes that are already required, such as we already require 4 years of English, we already require 3 years of math and 2 years of science. The NCAA, though, then says they need an additional year of one of those 3, another year of English or math or science. They're requiring 2 years of social science. And then the last bullet point says 4 additional years of any of the above, or you can now include foreign language. So that's important to pay attention to, students and parents and counselors. If the counselors know that students are interested in playing a sport in college, the counselors can help students pay attention to that. We had a senior football player last year who was being offered a scholarship to play in a Division II school, And as we were looking through his transcript, trying to figure out, if he met all the requirements, in December of last year, we figured out that he was short one core course. He was only going to have 15 core courses on his transcript. He had a lot of other good classes, 4 years of AVID. He had one of the pre-engineering classes. So he had a lot of good classes on his transcript, but they were not all considered core courses by the NCAA. So we were scrambling around last December to make sure second semester he was able to get the classes that he needed. And he did end up having to take one extra class online in order to meet that 16 core course requirement. One other thing for Division I and Division II, if students think that they want to play either of those levels, it's recommended by sophomore year that they register with the NCAA clearinghouse. Our college and career center advisor, Mr. Jackson, who might be speaking a little bit later if he was able to attend, he is one who can help students out a lot with this because he has a lot of experience with it. He's worked at Highland and has helped students with the process at Highland. The other 3 divisions that are listed here, NCAA Division III, that's usually smaller schools and their first focus is usually academics. Division III also does not offer athletic scholarships, so that's also something to keep in mind. The NAIA schools, they can offer academic and athletic scholarships. Their academic requirements are not as strict as what the NCAA requirements are. And then, we also have junior colleges, a lot of good junior colleges around that offer some sports if your kids are interested in the sports that are offered around here. So if you have, going forward in the future, have questions about this or want some advice, want some help with your students if they think that they want to play sports in college, they just need to reach out to their coaches because their coaches have a lot of experience with this. They can reach out to their counselor, to, like I said, Mr. Jackson, to us as administrators. If the first person you talk to can't help, hopefully they can point you in the right direction. But keep on asking because it is quite the process, and I've definitely learned a lot over the last 10 years, working through it with my own 3 daughters.
Okay, so we're going to kind of wrap this up because you've heard us talk a little bit about the academies, and now we're going to explain how it fits. So all of those traditional courses that you probably remember taking when you were in high school, parents, are bundled within the academy model. And as I mentioned before, the goal here is smaller teams, but our teachers also educate using the lens of that academy. So for example, if you're part of our HEAL Academy, which is based in health sciences, our goal as we complete our immersion to an academy model is that your math class, your English class, your social science class will be taught through the lens of the HEAL Academy. So when a teacher is ready for an example, they might use a medical-based example for that lesson. And then as students age, one of the important parts is that they get to participate in a job shadow or an internship, an opportunity for them to see in real life what that future career interest might look like. A pathway consists of at least 3 courses taken in the sophomore, junior, and senior year to help them confirm a career interest. As our students enter their freshman year, as Mr. Kundert said, they're going to spend a great deal of time talking about their aptitudes and their interests. And then by the middle of their freshman year, like now, that's when they will be selecting their pathway for the remainder of their high school career. Pathway completion at Freeport High School can not only include dual credit, but also certification in a job, passing of exams that they can present to an employer showing their skill set, as well as an opportunity for them to gain that experience in that career field. We do this by using a program called YouScience Aptitude testing. All of our teachers at the high school have taken the YouScience Aptitude tests, and it's a series of brain games, kind of like those memos that we all receive as adults from time to time saying that our memory is going and we should try to work to increase it. That's kind of how these games work. But it's really interesting that they zero in almost 100% of the time on exactly what our aptitudes are. In addition, as a parent, if you're thinking, boy, I'd really like to find out what my aptitudes are, Highland Community College also has started to use YouScience, and you can get in touch with Anthony Musso, I believe, at Highland, and he would allow you to gain access to that, to gain your own aptitude testing, and see maybe what your future career path could be. And this really small font here, which we will provide to the students in another format, is our career pathways. So we talked about the freshman team already. And then as you become a sophomore, junior, and senior, you would be able to take courses in the Create, Heal, or Lead Academy. Each academy has roughly 300 students in it. And in the Create Academy, we have 4 pathway options. One in auto maintenance, another in engineering and architecture, in construction trades, and in coding and game design. Within each pathway, you notice that some of the courses are noted in red. And so essentially what happens is your sophomore year in auto maintenance, you would take Intro to Auto Technology and Maintenance. Your junior year, you would take Auto Tech 2 on our campus, or Careers in Auto Tech, which is also offered on our campus, but is a career tech course. And then your senior year, either the Capstone Project Internship or Careers in Auto Tech 1 or 2, also offered on our campus. The same thing is true for the Heal Academy. Our Heal Academy has 3 pathways in sports medicine, nursing pre-med, and EMS fire science. And then our Lead Academy has 4 pathways in law and public safety, K-12 education, that's future teachers, business and entrepreneurship, and counseling and behavioral health. Mr. Jackson, we've been teasing him that he tried to keep up with the boys in basketball, but really he was just moving furniture for his wife. But he's unable to be with us because he's looking at his knee and whatever happened there. But he's available in our College and Career Academy as our coach of all 4 academies. His office is right next to the guidance office, and you've probably seen that he offers a number of parent opportunities and student workshops to learn more about the process of college and career readiness. One of the big pushes in Illinois is that every student starting this year applies for the FAFSA, the Free Appropriate Education Loan that students can receive. That requires applying for financial aid in the fall. And then our resources include not just those resources I already mentioned, but also working with students on developing themselves and then being prepared for college by finding as many scholarships and opportunities as possible. At Freeport High School, your course selection is important because this is your last 4 years before you head out into the real world. So your placement on our 9th grade placement spreadsheet that we have worked with the 8th grade teachers to place everyone appropriate in their 4 core classes, English, Math, Social Studies, and Science, is based on their ability levels according to testing and prior performance in courses, as well as their interest. Our goal is that we can ensure rigor and preparation for your future academic and athletic opportunities, and then any of those staffing and scheduling decisions are based on those requests and also open for your input and questions as you see needed. As you transition to high school, I know Ms. Haskin just mentioned a GPA if you're interested in playing at the collegiate level of 2.3. As you know, grades are figured on a 4-point scale. A's are worth 4 points, B's are worth 3, C's are worth 2. Notice that D's don't really figure in very well to that kind of a model. And so your goal is going to be A's and B's, and begin with that end in mind, make a thoughtful course selection, and then make sure that you pass all of your classes to earn your credits to graduate. That concludes our presentation. We ran a little bit longer than we were planning, but what we would like to do at this time is go ahead and allow any of you who have a question to either put that in chat or to unmute yourself. It would probably be easier in chat so we don't talk over each other. Good question. I'm seeing a question here. What is mixed chorus? Mixed means that there are both boys and girls in that chorus. And it's a great opportunity if you haven't ever been in choir to get your feet wet. Mr. Peterson, does that explain it well?
Yes, before it was just a women's course only, and we just thought it would be more suitable to students to allow boys and girls to sing together.
Okay, we will be sending the slides out to everyone. We have a question here. If a student is participating in a school sport, do they still need to take PE? They are not eligible for a PE waiver based on sport participation until their junior or senior year. However, if they are engaged in marching band, even as early as their freshman year, they are eligible for a PE waiver. So if you're interested in a PE waiver, make sure to reach out to either the athletic director or Mr. Law for the guidance counselor.
Had another question about foreign language. Do we have to take a foreign language to graduate?
We do not have to take a foreign language to graduate. However, it's recommended, especially as our world becomes much more global and diverse. And for our students who are going away to college, many times colleges are looking for you to have experience in a foreign language. Mr. Lawford, do you want to address when do we pick out classes?
Yes, as I stated earlier, they're going to have a Screencastify, which is going to be me explaining the process of registering for high school. I believe they are going to see that in their homerooms tomorrow. And I believe, Ms. Haskin, the Google form, will that be going out yet this week or the beginning of next week?
I was going to try to coordinate that with the middle school administration, but I was hoping that once the screencast is shown to all the 8th graders, that then the Google form will follow shortly afterwards. So hopefully by the end of this week, but it kind of depends on the middle school schedule.
All right, thank you.
All right, it looks like we have an honors math question. If we took honors math in 8th grade, what math would we take in 9th grade? And if you took integrated 1, which is a high school math course, as an 8th grader, then you would start with integrated 2 in high school as a freshman. Then there's a series of driver's ed questions here. For driver's ed, do I need to register my daughter, or will you invite students based on their birth date and availability? And the answer to that is you always have to register. So if you're interested in driver's ed through Freeport High School, you would have to indicate that either during your freshman or sophomore year. But remember, you have to be 15. So if you're not going to be 15 until freshman year is nearly over, you probably wouldn't be taking driver's ed your freshman year. What grade do we take driver's ed? That would be either your freshman or sophomore year, but again, it depends on being 15. And let's be honest here, parents, this is really for you. You do not have to allow your child to get their driver's license even after they take it through the school. So students, I'm talking to you now. If you're not ready to drive, or your parent doesn't believe that you're ready for that kind of responsibility, they may have you hold on to your permit until you're 18. When we still have to be on Zoom or e-learning, will I go to 9th grade or actually go? Well, I wish we had a magic wand and we could predict what the future is going to be. I think all of us here on the call hope that we're back in person in the fall. But if we have to do something different, we'll certainly do something different as long as we need to. It looks like Mr. Heights responded to a little bit of the driver's ed questions. It is possible that you could take some honors courses and then other non-honors courses. For example, if you feel like math is a real strong suit for you, but maybe your English skills, you would rather be in a regular class, that's definitely something that we could accommodate if that's your preference. There's another question about if your son turns 15 over the summer. I think what Ms. Haskin was trying to explain is that we do have quite the backlog right now. We don't know if we'll start to get to 15-year-olds because we're still working on kids that have already turned 16. And a couple other things to keep in mind. If your family is really interested in an opportunity to gain a driver's license early and you don't think that we would be able to accommodate that, you can still take driver's ed through a private institution like DriveRight. The same rules apply though. You have to have passed 8 courses in the previous 2 semesters. That's a state law. Looks like there's a couple more questions here about tours being available. We were able to open the high school up for tours prior to school starting, and that's so that our students would be able to find classes and ask questions. In the past, we've been able to bring you over and show you to the office and some of the other locations of the building. We won't be able to accommodate that at this time, but we will certainly have you back in the building before classes start in the fall. Looks like Christy already responded to the AVID questions about whether or not they need to reapply. But if you're interested in AVID instead of careers your freshman year, you do have to apply. What kinds of sports are there? And can you name a few other ones? Mr. Fitzpatrick, I think that question is for you.
Yeah, I would recommend going to our website, our high school website, and then you can get a link to go to our athletics, and all of the other activities are on there too. I mean, we have, you want me to go through all of them? Let's see if I can get them all. In the fall, we've got football and boys soccer and volleyball and girls tennis and cross country. In the winter, we've got basketball and wrestling and bowling. And the spring is baseball, softball. I know I'm missing some. Baseball, softball.
I'm pretty sure Ms. Evans is going to crucify you for not mentioning swimming.
Did I say swimming? Yeah, I guess we have a swimming pool. Yeah, we could do swimming. But yeah, if you go to that website, they're all listed there, and that'd be a good site to get used to, because there's a lot of good information on there relating to playing college too and getting prepared for those requirements. But a lot about our programs. So, and there's always email addresses, and that's the best way to find out about a specific sport. You know, if it's about highly encouraged swimming, get the coach's email and send them an email and find out if they're doing anything in the off season or what I need to do to prepare for that season. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fitzpatrick. We have a question here. What happens if you select classes now and then the IEP switches them? That's fine. That means we'll just switch them on our end when that happens. Mr. Peterson, there's a question about marching band. Do you want to take that one?
I don't see the question.
Okay, the question is, which band class would have the marching band? My son is interested in marching band.
They both combine for the marching band. So either of the band classes.
There's another question here about how would my child know what career path they're really interested in, what sort of suggestions of courses. Mr. Kunder, would you take just a minute to describe the careers class and how the AVID or careers class your freshman year helps with that decision?
Yeah, so careers, first semester is a lot of SEL stuff, kind of developing who you are as a person. We take the YouScience test in there, and the YouScience really gives us a great indicator of what career paths are going to be, maybe the right ones or the right fits for each student. In second semester of careers, we dive a little bit more into each of the career paths, and specifically the targeted jobs in that career path. We also work on resume, cover letter type stuff. I told my careers class, and I know all the other careers teachers did as well, was by the end of this year in careers, you should be prepared for a job this summer if you were to want one. I mean, most kids aren't old enough to get one, but that's kind of the goal. So kind of just that exposure, to all those different careers paths. It's really the goal of that class, and I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah, actually, to clear up, you can obtain a job at 14 or 15 with a worker's permit that is signed off by the employer that you've already been hired. Otherwise, you have to wait until you're 16 unless you have a worker's permit. There's a couple more questions about, are we able to take more if there's room in driver's ed? Again, it goes in birth date order. So you can always sign up and we will let you know when your birth date comes up. There's a question here about the name of our website. If you just go to the FSD 145 general website and click on the high school, that's where we'll have this posted. We will also try to release this video on the middle school website or give it to them to provide to you as well. Looks like we've answered a number of driver ed questions here in chat already. There's a question here, where will all the information be going for private schools? Mr. Lawfer, do you want to address how you communicate with the private school students?
Yes, I have contacted the principal at Emmanuel Lutheran and the principal at Tri-County. They received the information about this evening, and then I will be contacting them and sending them all the information that Freeport Middle School is receiving right now. So they are going to get everything that the Freeport Middle School students received.
Okay, there's another question here about what classes would you request if you don't know your career? And again, you're requesting classes your freshman year that you're interested in. By the time you're a sophomore, that's when we try to help you know which career pathway you might be interested in. So your freshman year is still all about exploring and getting to know your aptitudes and your talents and your interests. If you feel like we've answered all of your questions and you want to leave the Zoom call, you can leave at any time. If you've got a question yet and you want to stay on, please stay on. Looks like Mr. Peterson answered some of the guitar questions and other questions out there.
There was a question I think we missed from Damari Hollum about, can we take early college classes?
Oh, that's a really good question. So most of your early college courses don't happen until you are a junior or a senior. We offer two different ways for that to occur. One would be through dual credit classes that are offered on our campus and taught by our instructors. And another would be by testing college ready as a sophomore, middle of your sophomore year, and then enrolling in the College Now program where you completely become a student at Highland. Now, these are for students who are very much ready for that sort of challenge as early as middle of their sophomore year. All right, looks like we had a couple more questions that have already been answered. If anyone else has a question, please go ahead and unmute or put it in chat. We'd be happy to answer it. Otherwise, thank you all for joining us this evening, and please reach out if you have any further questions.
There is a question there, I think, from Mr. Peterson. My daughter wants to know more about playing the guitar. Do you need previous experience, or is it taught like band and orchestra?
We don't teach guitar in band or orchestra, but if you play guitar, you have options playing the jazz band or the show band, and sometimes the musical, so there's guitar part. Those are all extracurriculars.
Did we address the robotics question? The question was, is robotics class still available?
Yeah, there was never a class that was just an extracurricular. I think that was addressed already in text.
It was.
There's another question about driver's ed. If we got taught how to drive by our parents, do we need to take the course for the license? And that answer is yes. You still need you need a state officially recognized course.
All right, I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and stop.